Hey there, my friend. I want to tell a little bit of a story about me and my journey interacting with women. It was really rocky for quite a while. It started when I was in a lot of these relationships that were not healthy relationships for me to be in because of a lot of mommy issues that I hadn't really figured out. I was the hole that was left in me when my mom got hurt. I was trying to patch up and fill with just any woman that walked by. So it was this interesting situation where I would fall head over heels and try to marry just any woman that came across my path. And then when they left my experience after a horrible breakup, now I look back and see that the universe gave me just a horrible experience. It was soul crushing because it was trying to do like when mice are in a maze, you know, it was trying to shock me because I was looking over and over again behind the wrong door. And there was no cheese there. And the universe had no other way to tell me that because it can't speak words. So the universe was just like, quit trying to find yourself behind every human being that walks past you and gives you a smile. And quit trying to marry them before you know who you are. And so it was this pattern that I kept running over and over again, because ultimately the universe can't talk in words, it can only talk in your feelings. That's why things feel right, and things trigger your intuition, trigger your inspiration, but they don't, you never actually see it written on a tree somewhere. Anyhow, I was getting beat up by all these relationships, and while I was in these relationships, I had no female friends. I made Queen that woman in my life, and had nobody else around me that I was connected to in a meaningful way who were women. I didn't believe that men and women could be friends. I didn't have a sense that men and women belonged together in a platonic way. I always thought they were just animals, that it's nonsense, and eventually you'll fall into an urge and want to kiss and frolic and do all of whatever weird stuff together. And I realize now that was a limiting belief, but it took a while, and I missed out on a lot of great potential friendships with women, beautiful souls, because I didn't give myself permission to even see that was a possible avenue. Because ultimately, here's breaking it down further, I didn't trust myself. Right? I didn't even know how to trust myself. I didn't even know that I was trustworthy, and trusting yourself was a thing. And so now I see something that I only broke through a couple of months ago. Now I really understand what Napoleon Hill talked about in the book called Think and Grow Rich. The chapter called Transmuting Sex Energy. And what that means is conscious use of relationships between men and women. And before I went back and looked at that, I had a metaphor that was how I realized it and how I kind of itemize it in my mind. And that metaphor is that when NASA wants to go to Mars, or send a satellite to Mars, right? What do? They use the moon as a slingshot thing. So the moon, it actually becomes, the gravitation of the moon becomes a slingshot to get to Mars. They send the satellite out, and they don't want to land on the moon. They don't want to crash on the moon. And they don't want to have to just truck past the moon, because the thrust required to get out of the orbit when you're kind of tugged this way trying to fight it would actually be more so. So what they do is they bend into it. And so they bend into the orbit of the moon, they do one revolution, and they slingshot to Mars. And not just NASA, but every major space organization. And probably the secret space organization, but we're not allowed to know that exists, also uses a similar strategy. That's a separate video. Anyhow, I realized that was a strategy that I could use in my relationships with women. And that's actually the most fruitful way to approach women, because they're gorgeous. I love women. I really do. They're stunning people in my life who, if I wasn't conscious, I would allow my animal instinct to take over, and I'd want to tackle them, like lion gazelle style, you know? But ultimately that would be a distraction, because then I'd fall right back into my old patterns, and then the electric shock would kill me, and I would never get to Mars, right? Mars is my mission. I'm on a mission to Mars, and you should be on a mission of your own too, towards you releasing who you really are in a full self-discovery sort of way to the world. Because you came here with light to give. And your mission is to uncover that light, dig it out, and pour it out in everything you do. And so as much as if you're a woman, as much as you let men tell you who you are, and whether or not you're good enough, determine your self-worth, and dictate what you do and don't like, what you can and can't do, as much as you depend on men, well then your light stays shackled inside. So Don't avoid men, because that also takes unnecessary energy, and they could be allies in your journey towards who you are and releasing who you are to the world. But treat them as moons. Slingshot around them, use their gravitation. Like they're going to be really attracted to you. And you're going to be attracted to them, but it doesn't have to be sexual attraction, right? You don't have to act on it either. And here's the thing. NASA puts a lot of conscious attention, presence, like in your life, it's like presence, into the Mars mission, right? When they're sending satellites to Mars, allegedly, men haven't been on Mars yet. They put a lot of conscious attention. So in your life, put conscious attention into how your relationships should be. And be very present with yourself and present with the people who you are interacting with, who you're talking with. And be honest and be like, this is exactly how I see this playing out. You know, I'm open to things changing, but right now, here's my intention. So you don't have you're creating these fantastic illusions and fantasies in their mind about who you are, how you are for them, what kind of puppet you're going to play in their life. Because everybody's got fantasies. So if at the very beginning you set a cage around those fantasies, they can't get out of proportion and ruin your ultimate journey of bringing your light to the world. And in that way, you're not, I wouldn't say in control, but you have more intention around what you're bringing through your life, and you're more in control of the beautiful experience you can have in your life. That's what I found recently, because if I had just shot the first caribou, as I call it, if I just shot the first caribou on a beautiful woman that came my way, I would have made her my queen by now, and I wouldn't have wanted to come out and make videos, and I wouldn't have wanted to spend 18 hours a day building my business, trying to figure it out, making 100 mistakes. Now I see I wouldn't have had to do it that way if I had known what I was doing. But if I just shot the first caribou, then I wouldn't have created what I'm creating now and been a light for as many people as I've been able to, wouldn't be able to make a living doing what I love. So keep that in mind. Treat beautiful people around you, even not so beautiful people around you, but people who are attracted to you or you may be attracted to, treat them as moons. Slingshot around them. Use their gravitation and use them to propel you towards where you want to be. Not like you're using people just like stepping stones. It's not actually using people. It's leveraging energy. It's transmuting sex energy. Because there's an attraction. Gravity will always be there. Human attraction between male and female will always be there. But use intention on how you're going to use it. That's all, my friends. I thought that was really resourceful when I learned it. Wanted to kind of walk you through that journey on how to use that strategy and a little NASA space metaphor for you. So let me know what you think and reach out to me if you have any questions at all, my friends. Love you guys. Take care.